So we're back with Farming Future series. I didn't have to travel as far today. I'm down in County Tipperary in Newport Veterinary Clinic with a classmate of mine, friend of mine, and he's on the phone arriving in here, John Berkery. John, good man. Thanks for having us down in Newport.
Anytime at all.
How are things going?
Good. Up to 90 but
90 miles an hour, so let's get cracking and start following you around for the day. Let's go.
I was here already this morning.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. And there's a cow that I think has an LDA.
Alright.
And there's a cow that I think has endocarditis. So
alright, okay, very good.
We'll put you on the spot and see what you think.
Man, John.
Yeah.
Right, we'll follow you, John. So this is a cow that you...
This one here,
Yeah.
I reckon has an LDA.
This is a very good way of catching cows because you're rounding them in and then they can see the gap. Out you go, up, 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 up.
Straight up, she's very cold, Tommy, isn't she?
She is
give
very
you a pair of
cold.
gloves.
I'm okay. Go on, Pat. Go on. That's it. I have the stethoscope, I'll start pinging. So you thought you heard a pinging her this morning, did you?
Yeah. Very focal area. So she wasn't like your classic LDA.
Yeah.
So I couldn't rule out ruminal atony or whatever as opposed to an LDA, but
Yeah, I'd say she's an LDA, alright.
yeah,
Huh?
that was my suspicion.
It's too pingy for ruminal atony, isn't it?
Yeah. But this morning it wasn't half as it's quite early this morning, it wasn't half. Temperature extreme.
There's a stink ping there now.
There is, yeah. So it just goes to show you that it wasn't obvious this morning, and
yet she was sick.
Yeah.
So what's happened there is we're just flicking her muscle or flicking her body wall, and that creates a noise. And there's a certain thing, if there's with fluid or normally you should hear a very dull sound, but there's actually a gas-filled structure in there, which is her stomach in the wrong place, and it's making a very distinctive, they talk about a stone in a well type sensation. So she's a displaced stomach.
So what causes an LDA, Tommy?
Okay, well there's a couple of causes, John, this is like been back on lectures. There's a couple of causes for her displaced her stomach. First of all, when a cow calves down, her stomach is so large, if she doesn't eat enough, it actually shrinks down. So it's really to do with how full her stomach is.
That's a lot of her problem, I'd say.
She's not eating.
Not eating, she's toxic.
Not eating, and her stomach gets small. Then
Stink.
this small little stomach underneath flicks over into the wrong position, this abomasum or true stomach. So what John has shown us there is she's got a metritis or womb infection. She's sick with that, she's not eating, and her stomach shrinks up, and this other stomach goes into the wrong position basically.
Yeah.
So LDAs are a consequence usually of other diseases, aren't they,
So
John?
the farmer was telling me that she'd be great for 24 hours and then she'd be back to square one. So I'd say what's happening is it's floating back and forth.
Yeah.
So, but she's not going to do unless we
do surgery.
So we'll do that now. That's
Okay.
it.
So this is a case of a cow with a displaced stomach, and so what John is going to do, he's going to do surgery. He's going to remove that abomasum and tie it back into the right position. Actually, push it right back down there and stitch it back over there, I imagine.
It's a fierce physical job. I'll tell you that much.
She's cold and she's sunken. What time did you start this morning, John?
About 6:30.
6:30.
So, which would be
Typical?
part of the course at the moment.
Is it? Yeah, every day. And what time are you finishing up at?
Of course, at young kids, Tommy, when you're not working 6:30,
It's the waking time anyway.
Yeah.
The question is, which is harder? Don't answer that one. What John is doing here is he's just using local anaesthetic. Once you block the outside layers here, good girl, you can work quite freely.
the line blocks, because everything is she's so empty basically, that it's very hard to get a significant block with your needle can't, it just isn't long enough.
Yeah. So you're blocking the nerves up high here.
Exactly. And that's all she should need.
Okay, which is only like 2 tiny amounts of local anaesthetic, really.
Yeah. I think the critical part with this operation is the position of your incision. If you go down too low, you're going to be faced with a lot of guts. And
if you go up too high, you won't be able to stitch over the stomach. So John has said cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to surgery. Very hard to do in a farm setting though, to have perfect asepsis. Would you agree that speed is also of the essence when you're opening a cow?
Time is trauma.
Time is trauma. So you're draping up like human surgery as much as you possibly can. You're keeping things as clean as you can.
Exactly. Now Tommy, have you that box?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Should we stop talking and a bit of action?
I'm pretty confident that's where, that's
the landmark you want.
That's the, the most coated part of the curvature.
Yeah,
so back about an inch from there.
Okay.
And depending on how big your biceps are.
Okay, so John has blocked the nerves here. Just 2 small injections above into the vertebrae and actually blocked the innervations. The cow's not feeling any of this, and he's going through the skin, just behind the ribs. Now he's making his way into because she's on the thin side under a bit of pressure. 2 thin muscle layers, John. Next, and then you'll hear that pop of gas because her inside her abdomen is this negative pressure into the peritoneum. So cutting through the 2 muscle layers. Good girl.
She's a pure pet.
Good girl. Good girl.
So that's the thickness of the muscle there, and as I say, everything has gone inwards because she's so empty. I find because everything is so far in.
Yeah.
That I just use my thumb to break the peritoneum.
Oh, you don't cut, yeah?
No.
So John is into the cow's abdomen now, and the next job is where that stomach is that we felt. We're on the opposite side now, so you've got to go over and you've got to bring that stomach back to the correct position.
Put my hand in and I'm going behind her rumen, which is very empty, and I can't believe that I couldn't hear this morning because it's huge.
Yeah, it really, when you listen to the ping there, it's amazing just to tell you the difference between movement or hours. It was a huge ping on her there this morning, wasn't it?
Huge, yeah. So there's no doubt that she has it. Now, I should be doing the hero and bringing it over without deflating it, but it's actually too big to do that.
There's a massive gas-filled structure over on the left-hand side, gas and fluid. So John is going to leave the gas out of it because it's actually so big, it's impossible to bring it down and over.
So this is the gas from the abomasum over there now.
So you can hear the gas bubbling out.
So you can see how much gas, and I'm not putting any pressure on it. The stomach is under so much pressure. Anyway, so you can see that she's probably in severe discomfort with it.
Yeah. And she can't digest her food, her stomach's in the wrong place, so this cow can't go on. And
if you look at her eye there now, I mean, she's a very sad cow.
Yeah. So you're lifting up the rumen, which is her main stomach, which is no mean feat, and try and slip her other stomach underneath it.
Yeah. So I do find if you use your arm to lift up the rumen
and pull it under,
create the space, yeah.
So again, it's easy to describe it here, but when your hand is in there through a tight, you don't exactly have a whole amount of space in there.
No.
Okay, good man, John. Looks like you're happy.
No, I could be bullshitting, but I reckon that's the duodenum there.
Okay, we'll believe you, and I think I'm going to do it as well.
So the duodenum obviously comes out of the abomasum, so
you're just tracking that back along.
Yeah, that's it there.
Okay, excellent. So now you're going to stitch that ligament, or that what they call the sow's ear part of the stomach, on here to the right hand side.
What I always see with the abomasum is it's lovely in white.
Yeah.
Distinctive in white, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
it's nice and white. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it the pylorus? Is that what you call it?
Pylorus, yeah, the end of the stomach. Yeah.
So how you know you're at the right place? It's nice and it's very thick, you know.
Okay.
So we're winning.
It is quite incredible what you can do with cows, really, isn't it? Like,
They're the most amazing animals.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
There's no other animal quite like a cow. Like, you can do a cesarean on them, you can do abdominal surgery, and like this lady's quite sick, she's cold, with fluids and TLC.
Nearly not registering on the thermometer, she's so cold.
Yeah.
So.
But still, with the stomach back in, and you can get a cow eating, they're phenomenal animals to survive, aren't they?
They are, yeah. What they can cope with. So I put in my first stitch anyway in the muscle, because we're going to tack it to the muscle. I'm making sure not to incorporate anything we don't want into that.
So it's just that stomach you want.
Yeah.
So that's her stomach again.
That's her duodenum, I would say, and it's coming down to her stomach, which is here. I'm just going to stitch it at that point.
Do you want me to hold that for you?
If you could tell me, yeah, it'd be great. We just stitch that there all together, and that's the hard part done.
So the first knot is the hardest one. So you're anchoring the stomach here, not actually the stomach itself, but the kind of the curtain or ligament the stomach hangs from.
Yeah.
So the cow's stomach hangs from this fatty ligament or omentum, and it's quite. I mean, how many?
It's quite friable.
Yeah,
so you want to be.
It will tear quite easily if it was so.
So just incorporating my wound closure into it.
You make your calls there and I'll just stitch it up for you. That's her done. So we've just finished, John has let me just to help because he's gonna have to do another job, but just finished stitching up this cow. She's had her surgery, her stomach, he's moved it over and he's stitched it in the right place to keep it in place. Now she's gonna need lots of TLC, fluids and things like that, so we're just gonna spray her wound. And hopefully this lady, even though she's got a low temperature, she is quite sick in herself. John says his success rate with these surgeries is really, really high, and he was quite quick doing it. It went well, so all should be good with this cow. Hardest part of surgery is putting the bloody lid back on the box. Surgeries went well, John, I just can't get the lid back in the box. Oh, is there? Okay.